this show we're having today's show, and the thing that speared on today's show is that there was a mass shooting last week in Oregon at a college, and I think what for us that hits close to home because we record in a community college here in Tulsa, so to not cover this would be a shame.
Yeah.
Also, just the nature of how often this happens in America now is a thing that I think often we instantly go to trying to find out why, blaming someone, and we never really talk about some of the go a little bit deeper. We want a quick, immediate answer as to
Mhm.
why, who, what, when. We want the immediate, but we don't want to go a step deeper to discuss the things that we need to do in order to prevent the
Mhm.
whys and why did this person do this?
I'm thinking there must be a lot of fear involved with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, because I think it brings each person back to the reality that America's changing and the country's not what it used to be. We love feeling safe here,
Mhm.
and now it's okay. I could go down the street and something could happen there. Like if we watch a news report and they say there was a mass, shooting or there was a bombing or something in Afghanistan, we would shrug our shoulders,
Mhm. Well,
unfortunately.
I didn't even think about it
Yeah,
today as I was walking into the studio.
yeah,
That you mentioned we're recording at a community college,
yeah,
and that was a community college, wasn't it, in Oregon, where the
yeah.
mass shooting
Yes, it was.
occurred? And also, then recently, there's been some discussion about in Oklahoma, the labor commissioner was shot by his son, apparently, um, and someone leaked his mental health records.
Yeah,
So in that instance, everybody's jumping on that bandwagon as far as you know, it's
mental.
because of
Yeah,
his mental health issues.
and I think the reason why we do that is because there has to be a reason. There has to be a reason for why this happened. Mental health is the easiest scapegoat because very few of us understand mental health, and you can take mental health and put it in this box of just saying, okay, it's a problem. Only a few select people understand it, so we can just say that that's the problem and that's it.
Hmm.
And not many people are going to chime in with opinions because most people who are dealing with mental health, who are either busy treating people with mental health or people who are responsibly taking care of their mental health issues, they're not going to stand up and say, "Hey, I have mental health."
Hmm.
Most people do. It's a private issue.
Gosh, I hope everyone has mental health.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean by that.
Yeah, I know
But
what you
yeah,
mean.
and so if it's a gun, if you start saying arguments about video games, gamers are going to stand up and say, well, shootings happen where people don't play video games. If you say it's gun control, you will have 90% of America standing up and saying it's not about gun control. Everyone
Hmm.
who does not want their gun pried from their cold dead hand.
Right.
Everyone's going to stand up and say what it's not. But when it comes to mental health, I think there's not a lot of people advocating for mental health and saying that it's not individuals who are suffering from different mental health illnesses.
One of the reasons that we are highlighting this today is some research that's come out of Vanderbilt University, and we'll put a link on that on our Facebook and on our Twitter.
Yeah,
And uh, I think that the majority of people do think that if there's a mass shooting, that there's a there's a mentally ill person involved.
yeah,
Would you? I
yeah,
mean, that's one of the big
and
beliefs.
yeah, and I think the reason why I've done that, I've been guilty of doing that, is because I believe it disconnects me from the scene of the crime to some degree. It takes it outside of the well, and I hate to say this in such a disrespectful way, but the truth of it is, I think some of us we get to a mindset where we say, okay, you have to be crazy in order to do that.
Hmm.
You have to have something wrong with you in order to do that.
We
And
want to believe
yeah,
that.
yeah, and because if you was to say any one of us could do it, that's that's a scary idea.
Okay, well, I wonder if people are thinking that in order to kill someone, in order to um, take the life of someone you know, you'd have to be crazy.
Yes, I think
Now,
that's
do you think people think that? Because, according to the research, the majority of people in the United States are killed by a friend or relative or someone that they know. And those people are not necessarily labeled, quote, as being mentally ill.
No, if that's the case, we wouldn't have full prisons. There wouldn't be prisons built every day. There'd be mental health facilities. It wouldn't. It would be. I think that any one of us could get into our emotions too deeply, or could be called into one particular. Could get heated and make a bad decision, and including a mass shooting. It's not just.
That's really hard to wrap your
Yeah.
head around that, though.
Yeah, I think it is, because I think the reality is, I think a person would love to say, and it's kind of a hard thing to put out there, but I think I don't want to disconnect too far away from the possibility that if I don't take a more responsible approach to how I handle situations, that this is possible.
Okay.
That if I read something or I take something in, I have to do it responsibly and understand the difference between life and death, and is it worth it? I have to be able to weigh those things out and know that I can't take another life.
Well, you're talking
Absolutely.
about some deeply complex issues that are just a little bit deeper than uh, mental illness
Right.
causes gun violence. That's
Right.
in this research study that the professor Jonathan Metzel from Vanderbilt University's done. And again, we'll put that link on our Facebook. He says there's 4 myths about gun violence and mass shootings in particular. Is the first one is mental illness causes gun violence.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been repeating. I just think that that's our easiest scapegoat.
Yeah. Well, the research that they did showed across the board that mentally ill are 60 to 100% more likely than the average person to be the victims of violent crime
Yeah.
rather than the perpetrators.
And that makes sense because people fear what they don't understand. So it's much more likely that someone would probably attack a person, if they don't understand how to help them.
Well, your daily work is with homeless, and there's a large percentage of homeless that have a mental illness,
Yes.
and a lot of them are the victims of crimes.
Every single day. And I think the big